Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Pete from PMG Auto Care, and today's video is all about this Volkswagen Golf R. Man, do we have our work cut out for us. The Volkswagen Golf is a true modern icon. It's been about for decades in various forms, and it's easy to see why they're popular because they appeal to so many different types of people. Now, the MK7 variation is probably one of the most popular cars that we get in through our doors here, particularly the R and GTI models. But I'm not kidding, we have done hundreds and hundreds of these. So while it makes us familiar with them, as time moves on and they're starting to get a bit older now, the varying degrees of damage, how they've been treated and how they've been maintained all play a massive factor. So although we'll know a basic go-to of what works with a Golf R, for example, at this stage we have to take many other factors into consideration that will all play a big part in how we tackle this job. So what exactly are we going to be doing with this car? Well, I can tell already it's pretty grubby, but I can see through the dirt that the paint really is not in great shape in this car. And once we get it clean, I'm sure I'm in for a few more nasty surprises. Now, getting it clean's the priority now. We will be doing paint correction on this. We will be doing a ceramic coating. But for now, let's get the car outside, do a decontamination wash, and then get it under the lights to see what we're truly working with. I'm feeling it's not going to be a pleasant surprise. Whoa, isn't that absolutely beat the hell? We have quite a task set out before us here. Now, my experience of doing, and I mean it, literally hundreds and hundreds of these Mark 7 Golfs certainly plays a hand here. But there's so many previous sins to remove here. I don't know if I'm a detailer or if I should be a priest. This is bad. I'm hoping the camera's picking it up just to show just how bad it is, but from the offset, I know that perfection with this car is not a possibility. Luckily, I have the experience to see that. The paint depth gauge also agrees with me that in some areas of this car, it is not safe to push on. And there's also just some defects that are beyond repair other than refinishing. So, does that mean that we can do a half-assed job? Absolutely not. The truth about detailing is that the car is only as good as its potential. So whenever we talk about paint correction, whether it be a minor correction or a full correction, really we're talking about that in terms of your vehicle's potential. So we're going to take this to its full potential. There will be some stuff left behind. You're going to spot some things on the camera. I have absolutely no doubt about it. We're not going to try and hide it and make it look like we have just totally transformed this into something that's unrealistic. It's important, if you're getting your car detailed, you have a realistic expectation of what can be achieved. I know that detailing videos online make it look like you can take anything from any condition and restore it back to something that's utterly perfect, but the sad fact is, that's not really true in reality. Now, what we will be able to do with this car will be mind-blowing, and it's going to look like a totally different vehicle. It's going to be a stark transformation from the car we're starting with and the one we're going to end up with. So the process, paint correction, the heavy correction set is going to be tough, tough, tough. Now, when these Golfs were new, they had very, very soft paint. They actually were one of the cars that whenever we started to notice the change in paint quality over the last few years, these were the first cars that really brought it to our attention. Remember doing a Golf, we went from the Mark 6 generation, the Mark 7s come out, I started to work on one, and all of the stuff and all of the process that we would have used in a Mark 6 had no effect on a Mark 7. Now, as time's moved on, they do seem to harden up over a period of time, and they're pretty brick hard and they take a lot of aggressive cutting. Now, this car, being as trashed as the paint is on this, heavy aggressive cutting is exactly what we want to do. It's not what I want to do in an ideal world because the car is a flat red. It's going to introduce a lot of micro marring, but we just have to accept that that's going to be the downside of the correction at this stage, and that the refining stage is going to be every bit as involved as the initial cutting stages. But the goal of this here is get as many defects out as possible. So don't be surprised if you see lots of micro marring in this initial stage. We're not worried about that. All we want to do is remove as many defects as is safe to remove. So this gets stuck in, it's going to be long process in this car. Going in with the Roots LHR 15, microfiber pads. I'm going to try a little bit of CarPro Ultra Cut. I think though we maybe step it down. I'll just see how things go. I have a feeling that microfiber fluid from Maguire's is probably going to be the better answer in this occasion. But like I said, we just have to take each detail as they come and assess each vehicle as we work on them. Done hundreds of these before, but that does not mean they're all the same. They've all been defected in different ways, different levels of severity, and really we have to treat each individual vehicle as that, an individual. Assess each job as it's in front of you. So let's get the arduous task started, get stuck in with this heavy correction, and see this Golf totally transformed before our eyes. It might sound a little disheartening now, but I'm telling you, it's going to be special when it's finished. initial correction stages I should say, are complete, and well, man's that challenge. There's so many man hours in this so far that it's kind of disheartening. This is the bit as a detailer whenever you're working with a car that needs a lot of TLC, that even though we spend way more time on this process to garner a lesser result than if we were starting out with a car that had much more potential to begin with. It's hard to get over that OCD, to draw the line. And well, that's something that comes with years of experience, but it doesn't mean that you don't want to chase for more and push for more. But as you'll see, there are some defects left in the paint of this car. It just wasn't safe to push them any further, or some are beyond repair. And well, I think we've got the best of what we could get out of that car. And while this is a dissatisfactory process at this stage, once we get on to the refining, now this is where it starts to come together and we really see that, yeah, this is a huge change. Now really it's a huge change in terms of what defects were there before to what's left. I'd say we've got probably about an 80% correction rate in this car, which is as hopeful as we could be, but finish is the thing that makes the car look best in most circumstances. The car being a flat red, well, we can really chase that finish. So you'll have seen we had to micro-mar the hell out of that. We had no choice. It was about going in with the big guns there and getting as much defects taken out of that paintwork as possible. But this is where we make it look beautiful. When we go in with this refinement process now, this is when it really pulls the finish together. It's when we start to see the gloss and the depth truly come to life, and that clarity. Once we remove all those machine-induced defects, it's going to really sharpen up and look like a different car. This is when the satisfaction starts. So it's still going to be another long process, which again, if the car was something that wasn't quite as heavily defected, this would be a much more straightforward process as well. But then we're seeing a huge change with us. So pros and cons, but all in all, this is going to be a totally different car. So lots of time going to be involved here. Very soft pad, an intermediate refining polish, I would say, and just lots of time. But it's going to be worth the end result. And I can't wait to see that crisp, sharp finish come to life before my very eyes. So let's get cracking. Well, didn't Refinement just totally turn that around? That's where the satisfaction is now starting to come into this, and you can see that really, while the car's not perfect, it's a total transformation. I don't think there's any other way to say it. It really looks incredible. So now it's getting on to those final finishing stages that are going to make it look even better again. It's just going to tie the whole job down. And this is one of the bits that I love most about detailing, is all those little touches and final finishing parts that just bring the whole job together. So we'll get it de-dusted, and then we're going to stick some G-Technic Crystal Serum Ultra down on the body, coat the wheels, coat the glass, and then all those little finishing touches like the exhaust tips and the rubbers and all that. But it is such a transformation, and Ultra is one of those coatings that adds even more to the finish of the car, so it's just going to make it pop even more. I really can't wait to see this one brought together. It's such a huge transformation. So let's get cracking and get it finished. finishing touches are all completed. This little Golf is all wrapped up, so there's just one thing left to do, and I'll show you guys it finished. So the big question, did we rescue it? Did we transform it? I guess you guys can be the judge of that too. Personally, I feel like we did. I feel like I got the car to more than acceptable of a standard. It was hard work, and ironically, it takes more time to take a car that is this heavily defected, and even though the end result isn't what it would be if we were starting with a car that was in better shape to begin with, it takes way more time, probably 3 days, 12-hour days at that, and getting this little Golf back to where it can be something to be proud of, something that the owner can really enjoy the aesthetic of the car now, which plays a huge part in car ownership. Aside from the driving enjoyment, we all like to be proud of how our cars look as well. So we've certainly achieved that. I'm pleased with how it looks. The big burning question, I guess, is could we have done more? Yes and no. Yes, we could have flat sanded some stuff on the car. It would have really compromised the level of clear that was left in the vehicle. I don't want to do that. This is a daily driven car, something that we use and enjoyed. If we take the clear in this car down to the bare minimum, it's really needing no option in the future. Should it pick up more wash marring, should it pick up paint defects and require a little light machine polishing, there's still a lot of clear that we can jump back in and do that again if needs be. And the second thing, there's evidence of machine polish in this car before where it was already low in areas and we couldn't really do so much there. So in my opinion, it's about balance, and it's about getting the car looking even, nice, glossy, something that's impressive as you're walking up to it. And I think we've achieved that. The car really looks amazing. I can't wait to see the owner's reaction when he comes to pick the car up. That's another video wrapped up. Once again, thanks for watching. We always are open to suggestions, negative criticism. We like to hear it all. We want to see what sort of direction to take this channel with feedback from you guys. Our next video is going to be a lovely E92 M3 that we're going to be doing paint correction and coatings on as well. So if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again in another one. Thanks for watching.